the G.
Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen from Dope Soul Sports Talk, in my weekly spot right here where it all started. You know how we do. We're going to review the week. A loss to Minnesota, win it in versus Miami, a tough loss to Phoenix on a last second shot. We'll talk about that game a bit more. Then we'll go over next week's games. And then we got a lot to talk about in the middle. We're going to spotlight Emanuel Quickley today. So we'll talk about him in depth. So support the channel. If you haven't already, subscribe. We got you covered for all your Nick content needs right here. I'll go through the family of shows in a little bit. Let me get the panel in. Tony Crow, Knicks and Bruises, Jeff Clafter, resident panelist, Dope Soul Sports Talk, DJ Shuttle with his own thing. 108 Soul. I get that mixed up every day. 108 Soul every Friday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. DJ Shuttle on the ones and twos doing a great job.
Oh, I think I might have to sample that and use it for a drop.
Definitely do that. And listen, I mean, we talk about DJ Shuttle every week. It's an older crowd in here. I know some of y'all, it's an older crowd. Check out DJ Shuttle. All you have to do, Alexa, play 108 or Siri, play 108 Soul, right? 8 o'clock every Friday. You won't be disappointed.
And since I'm getting that love, Queen, I just want to say DJ Shuttle Big Birthday Bash, Saturday day party, January 13th. Once again, DJ Shuttle birthday party, Saturday, January 13th. We centrally located, doing it in Queens. So if you're from Brooklyn, you're from Bronx, you're from Harlem, you're from Lower East Side, even if you're from Jersey, I got you centrally located right off the Queens Boulevard, Club Amadeus. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a big deal.
Oh, I'm in there.
What if you upstate?
Come down at 95, boy.
Hey, you gave me enough notice.
And it's a day party. For the night.
Talking about.
For the night.
That's what I'm talking about. There's not enough day parties for those of us that are over 50. Come on now. Remember, you used to go to a party, you didn't even want to get there before 12. Maybe 11:30.
Leave the house about 12.
Right. Still getting ready. Close it out around 6 in the morning. Go to the diner, get your breakfast, then you go to sleep. Oh,
White Castles.
Now you sleep well before 12.
Right. Oh, I remember those days. But for me now, day parties. So I got you, DJ Show. You ain't said nothing. All right, let's get into. I just love us over the. I have to get this on my channel. I love it. All right. Last time we was on the show, we were 8-5, 6 in the Eastern Conference. We had won 3 straight, 10th offensive rating, 5th in defensive rating, 4th in net rating. We're currently 9-7. Since we last met, we won 1 game, we lost 2. We beat Miami, we lost to Minnesota and Phoenix. We're 7th in the Eastern Conference. We've lost 1 game. Our offensive rating is picked up since we last met. We're 6 right now. No, I think it's the other way around. Sorry. Our offensive rating is actually 11, and our defensive rating is 6th, and our net rating is 8. So that's the team snapshot. Let me bring everybody back. Oh, no. As a matter of fact, let's move on here. We played Minnesota. We lost 100 to 117. Brunson, 25 points. Randle, 14 rebounds. We did not shoot well in that game. 35% from the field, 23.7% from the three-point line. I'm giving up on us as far as free throw percentage is concerned, but we shot 79.4% against Minnesota. Brunson. Well, Miami, we won by 2. Brunson was a big part of that. 24 points. Randle, 8 rebounds. We shot 48.1%, 34.5% from 3, 66.7% from the free throw line. And then last night's game or yesterday's game, I put win. That was a loss. Okay, a lot of mistakes here today, Queen. Now, that was a loss, 116 to 113. Brunson with 35 points. Robinson, 11 rebounds. We shot 45.3% from the field, 41.4% from 3. I think we're ranked top 10 in three-point shooting. I think we're 8th or 9th right now. Free throw shooting, 71.9%. The Knicks are 29th in free throw percentage out of 30 teams. My goodness. All right, let me bring back in the panel. The same question every week. What stood out for you last week, player-wise, team-wise, offensively, defensively, rotations? What stood out for you? Tony?
Um, Definitely Brunson seems to be back. You know what I mean? Like he had the rough start to the season, but I mean this is 2 weeks in a row now where he's averaging like 28 per game. You know what I mean? And bringing us back, carrying us at times with like whatever it takes. Sometimes it's sad we don't win them all when he puts up when he does so much for us. At times. But the usual things other than last game with the rebounding, but the usual things that we hang our hat off will determine whether we win or lose a game. You know what I mean? But is this? I'm not too down, but we should have won last one. You know what I mean? We should have won the last one.
Yeah, I mean, we were on Knicks and Bruises. If you guys weren't there, you could check it out on replay. I know you was pretty upset, Tony, about how we played yesterday, and it's okay. As you guys are commenting, if you want to lean into a particular game and talk more about it, that's totally fine. Jeff, what stood out for you this week
The
or
slow
yesterday, whatever you want to talk about?
the slow start yesterday bothered me a lot. Like that that was a game we just let slip through our fingers. I mean, like if we came out with our typical energy, uh, I think we win that game comfortably instead of, you let a team hang around when they're shorthanded, and sometimes you get bit, and we got bit. I mean, a little bit concerned. Grimes is just in a slump from, I mean, for days. That's concerning. 3 straight games with just the on-off statistics are just horrendous. I mean, and he's got like 6 points or something like that in the 3 games combined. It's really been a brutal stretch. I don't know if he's still hurt, but if he is, he needs to sit himself down until he's healthy, because we have other guys in there who can play. And just, I don't know, that was disappointing. The Minnesota game kind of went like I expected it to. I kind of thought we weren't going to have our sea legs in that game, and we didn't. And then, Miami's always a rock fight, but I'll take the birthday miracle right there. I was in a bad way when that happened. I had to watch the Jets embarrass themselves on Friday morning, and then or Friday afternoon, and then it looked like the Knicks were down 21, and I was like, really? Thanks a lot, guys. And then that ended up making my night. That was some kind of comeback, boy.
Yeah.
It was your birthday. Happy belated.
Thank you.
Yes, happy. I think I said it beforehand, but I'll say it after as well. Happy belated. DJ Shuttle?
Well, interesting week. bear with me one sec here. So interesting week. I was happy to get that comeback. I mean, like there's certain teams you have to beat, and Miami's one of them. For me to, I mean, just on a GP, you got to beat Miami, but specifically for this particular season and this particular team, it's hard for me to see the team as a tier 1, but for me to even solidify you as a tier 2, you're going to have to beat Miami because Miami's a tier 2 team. And that's what really led me to a thought and an analysis that I had, I guess, maybe yesterday after the game. And I'm like, all right, who have we beat and who have we lost to? I mean, I had already took a look at this maybe a week or so ago, and I didn't even have to take a look. I had in my mental Rolodex who we lost to, and I was feeling good that okay, every team we've lost to, I felt like was a legit, absolute, bona fide playoff team, and aside from the one Celtics loss, every loss was respectable. But then I looked at the flip side. I said, all right, well, yesterday, let me look at the wins. And I'm like, well, sheesh. Like, there's no wins against a top-tier team. So I'm like, man, it's only 16 games in, but are we really just an average team? Because right now, based on the record and based on the teams you lost to and the teams you beat, this is an average team. I'll be honest with you. So I said, I got to take this one step further. Let me look at another average team. And I looked at the Cavaliers. Even though the Cavaliers had a couple of losses that you might not necessarily want, they got some wins under their belt that make you say, all right, that's a good win. That's a good win. So, so I'm kind of unsettled where this team is because based on the wins and losses, it's looking dead stinking average.
Well, let's stay right there. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Oh, you go ahead because it sounds like you wanted to add to what he was saying as well.
Yeah, I wanted to, to piggyback off what DJ Shuttle was saying. From what we've seen, the wins we've had, the losses that we've had. Obviously, you can only play the teams that are on your schedule. Has that changed your outlook on this team? Like, do you feel like we're a good team that just hasn't hit its stride yet? Or are you feeling like, I don't really know who this team is just yet?
Well, you were just making an interesting point about the slow starts to the games. And this goes back to what was one of our recent conversations, which was, listen, yeah, I want to have a good bench, but I want the best people out there to start the game because I don't want to be playing catch up. Oh, I got a good bench. I'm gonna bring players in. We're gonna catch up and we're gonna make up for the slow starts. And I don't know, man. Grounds is my guy, but I mean, we might be looking at that 20. We might be looking at that 20-game Tibbs shakeup. And I mean, listen. One thing I gotta say, I was taught this phrase that you should be forever a student. So I'm forever a student, and I'm forever growing and ever willing to evolve and to change my thoughts and views and opinions. And I got to be honest with you, I'm gonna say it right here. I'm actually have cracked the door open to the idea of Quickley starting. The guy's playing too good. He's playing too good. He's playing too good. He's playing too good. And I mean, and I got nothing to say other than I'm saying it.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll definitely get into Quick in our next segment and more in depth. Tony, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just to add to what I mean, both of you just said. See, I was encouraged because we were finally beating the teams that we were supposed to beat. Yesterday, I felt like that first game that we didn't beat a team we were supposed to beat. I mean, granted, Booker is great, but minus your two best guys, three best guys if you want to count Grayson Allen and his what he brings. Like, come on, we were supposed to beat that team. But I was encouraged, very encouraged, because the years past we didn't beat. It was like we lose to teams we should beat, and then we beat some teams that we you know what I mean, that were clear contenders. What I will say that was also or is also encouraging is the teams that were questionable about, we fought. You know what I mean? Right there, we was in those games as well. So it's just a catch-22. I guess tomorrow will help me get over yesterday because like yesterday really, like I was really hanging my hat on. This is for us to be one of those contending or even playoff perennial playoff teams. You gotta beat the teams you're supposed to. You know what I mean? And then fight with those other fellow playoff teams. And like I said, up until yesterday, that's how I was feeling. So I was encouraged.
Yeah, because this is a tough question. From what we've seen so far, can this team finish top four? And I know it's so early. It's it's really early, but I feel like if we are going to do it, we have to grow some more. We have to grow some more. I can't. And listen, Mitch has been great. RJ has been great overall. Quickly has stepped up his game as well. Brunson is rounding back into shape. I think he's back where we need him to be. We'll talk more about Randle in a little bit. But even with that, you see this Eastern Conference? Do you see this Eastern Conference? Orlando looks for real. I know they beat Boston. Boston was without Drew Holiday. But still, I haven't looked at their schedule to see the quality, of their wins. Indiana, even if you're a better team than they are, it's not going to be a cakewalk. Like there's going to be some competition, and you can't come out slow starts and think you beating Indiana and the other team I just mentioned, or Orlando. Like they've grown up. That you can't just roll out of bed and think you're going to beat Orlando. It's not happening. So maybe I'm overreacting to just a bad start yesterday. But yeah, I guess we can continue on with that question. From what you've seen, has that changed your opinion of the team? And do you still see them as a top, for those of us who did, a top 4 team? DJ Shuttle. Well, Jeff, we can go Jeff and DJ Shuttle because DJ Shuttle started it off.
Well, here's a couple things. I think that, outside of Orlando had an awful start to last season, but after the first 20 games or so, they really played well after that. So
they really did.
And the Pacers got off to a really good start last year, and then Halliburton got hurt, and
Correct.
so did everybody else.
Correct.
And they kind of fell apart. And now it looks like they're kind of healthy again and have a little bit better talent from what they've done in the off season. So I think that from that standpoint, those teams have bounced back a little bit, but it's really hard to say what's a good win and what's not a good win after 16 games. I mean, because I think the Miami Heat are, when it's all said and done, are going to be a really good team. I think the Atlanta Hawks are probably a pretty good team, and we have 2 wins in Atlanta. So, are they the upper echelon teams? No, but I mean, we certainly, it's not like we played poorly. We should have probably beat Boston, and we were right there in the Milwaukee game. I mean, Lillard kind of went off in the final minute of that game, if I recall that. And to be honest, Julius Randle hasn't really played like all NBA Julius Randle yet. For I would say the majority of the season. We haven't gotten a whole lot out of Quentin Grimes. So we haven't had everything, go the way we hoped. RJ's kind of had a little bit of a regression the last couple of games. I still like his defense.
That as well.
But just from a statistical standpoint, you know, I think, and again, it always sounds like I'm picking on RJ. If he plays the defense he's playing, I have no problem with RJ Barrett. Let me just be clear about that. I like the way that he's played over the course of the season and in the playoffs last year. But clearly, there's a difference between what he was in the first, you know, before the migraines happened and since the migraine. You know, I think that there's a definite delineation that you can make there from that standpoint. But you know, are we the best? No, but we've got opportunities, right? We've got. I know we'll get into this more probably later, but we've got 3 winnable games this week. You know, and if you take care of business like you've been taking care of business and get to 12-7, I think that's about where everybody thought that we would be. Now we go 0-3 this week and we're 9-10, then we're having a different conversation, and hopefully not, because I don't really want to have that conversation. But you know, it is what it is. But so you know, I 9-7, we're right in the thick of things in the Eastern Conference. You know, it's one of those things where you can't win the 4th spot in the first week, but you sure can knock yourself out of contention with a really bad start. So we haven't had that. So I'm encouraged, not discouraged by how we've started.
Okay. DJ Shuttle.
Yeah, I hear you talking, Jeff. But you know, we're in the thick of things. It is 16 games, and we're already 3.5 games back at the top seed. And we've already lost to Boston twice, already lost to the Bucks. You know, yeah, we beat the Heat, and that's the only win I can look at and call it a quality win. Yeah, it's only 16 games, but I mean, I don't consider Atlanta. Atlanta to me is not in contention to be even a top 16. So
what about the Clippers?
The Clippers, I do consider to be a potential top 6 team, but as of right now, they are who they are. Your record is you are who your record says you are. Right now, they're 7-8, and they in the 11th seed. So you know, like Miami Heat at this point, in my assessment of the teams and how the season has gone, the Miami Heat win is really the best quality win, and I can't really put another win next to it. You know, I mean, you got to beat teams that are going to be like, you got to look at the playoff teams and be like, all right, is Atlanta really a playoff? You really think Atlanta's like a top 6 team? Absolutely not. Boston, Milwaukee, 76ers, Miami, the way the Magic's playing. You're talking about the Knicks, Cavaliers. You're not picking the Hawks over those teams.
Indiana.
Really? I didn't even get to Indiana. And that's my point. and that's my point. Like, so I can't look at Atlanta as a quality win. I'm going to give the Cavaliers. I can give the Cavaliers as a quality win because I feel like at least the Cavaliers have beat some top tier teams, which proves their level of the capability where they can play to. But when you're only beating teams that aren't beating the top tier teams and they don't project to be in the top 6 in either conference, I'm just concerned. And something's gonna have to happen to shake it up.
But let me ask you this, Shuttle, because the teams, you can only play who's on your schedule. So the teams we've lost, the teams who are better than us, right? We beat the teams we were supposed to beat for the most part, other than Phoenix. It's not our fault that, you know,
No, it's not. No.
Was on our schedule.
You can only play the people that are on your schedule.
Correct. But are you from what you've seen, whether that's through who we beat, what you've actually seen on the floor, watching the players, are you?
I'm not discouraged by the play. I'm not discouraged by the play because to some of the things that we already just said, RJ's generally played pretty well. Brunson's getting his mojo back. Quickly's been, like stellar. Uh, Robinson is rebounding and been a better defensive force, less fouls. You know what I mean? So exactly, Savvy D. Two things can both be true.
Mhm.
It can be true that I am encouraged by the play per se of the team generally. Not to say that there aren't some things I like to see better, but yeah, I can see improvement by the team and can be like, okay, we're headed in the right direction as a team, but versus the other teams that you got to go against, that's a whole other story. Because at the end of the day, right now we're looking like a borderline playing team, like borderline 6-7 playing team. That's what we're looking like.
And that's based on what? The loss to Phoenix?
Not the loss to Phoenix. Just based on the 16 games that we've played, where we don't beat any of the teams that are ranked higher than the Knicks, and we're only beating the teams that are ranked lower.
Right. But I guess for me, listen, I have some, I don't know if I have concerns about this team. What I will say is we didn't get out the gate great. A lot of that had to do with the schedule as well. Um, and I don't think we've hit our stride as a team yet. As well as we've been, as well as we've played in some games, I still think there's more to this team. And as time goes on, we'll get to that. Offense is coming along. We're ranked 11th. Defense ranks statistically, then this is a good team, other than the shooting. But statistically, we're a good team. So I kind of get what you're saying, though, that there's just something about the team where we just feel like, we just not there yet. I kind of get that. But we beat the teams we've lost to, other than Phoenix, were teams who were better than us.
Yeah,
Except for Cleveland, one Cleveland game. It's hard to beat a team back to back, though.
and I'll give like I said, I'll give the team the Cleveland win as a
Mhm,
quality win. I'll 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 slide. I'll let that one slide into.
mhm.
I'll let that one slide into. But the East is tough. The East is tough. Like the East is very, very tough. We beat the Heat and the
Right.
Cavs, absolutely. And I noted the Heat as what I felt is really the only true quality win. But even though the Cavs are only 9-8, I'll slide the Cavs in because, as I noted, Cleveland has beat a couple of the top tier teams. And when I look at Cleveland, I look at them so far as slightly underachieving right now. So expecting that they will do better.
Mhm.
So, but the other teams that the Knicks have beat, I don't look at these teams as teams that are going anywhere.
But you also got to look at us the same way you look at Cleveland, and I'm sure you watch more of us than Cleveland. So if you feel that way about Cleveland, you got to think like Queen said, we didn't get off to a good start. We haven't hit our stride yet. Like there's a lot. As much as we've seen that we've liked, there's a lot that we still asking for from a couple of players in particular to I mean show up.
One thing I'll say too is one of the things that I
Look in the
look at
chat. Oh,
as
go ahead.
far as who's going to be a good team. I think one of the best indicators of that is net rating, and that was one of our best things last year. All year long was net rating, and we're 8th in net rating. So that to me is an elite team as far as that. And that's not the be all end all by any stretch of the imagination. It's just an indicator. But in terms of that indicator, we're doing very well. And in terms of our defense is vastly improved from what it was at this point
Yeah.
last year. And so I think if you look at our net rating and you look at those, yeah, we're 9-7. We're not amazing. We're not setting the world on fire, but we were 10-13 last year, and then we set the world on fire. So Tom Thibodeau teams tend to play better as the season goes along. And I think that trend will continue here. And if we can, use this week, keep getting some wind under our belt and keep moving forward, I don't think we necessarily need to worry about, dissecting this team is we think is going to be really good. This team we don't think is going to be really, I think from an indicator standpoint, look at the net rating, look at the total team offense, look at the team defense. Those numbers are both encouraging. So, and our it would be one thing if we were 9-7 and our net rating was like -0.2 or something like that, which happens sometimes. But that's not what this team is doing. So I think you can be encouraged by that, or at least I'm encouraged by that. You cannot be encouraged if you don't.
Jeff, I will say that last week I was having that conversation with myself. I said, okay, I see some teams that are ranked higher, and we have a better net rating than they do. You know what I mean? So I've had this conversation, and I think that there's some room to definitely be encouraged by that, but I can't let the numbers that are not the win and loss columns mean more than the win and loss columns. Because that ultimately is the number that matters for me the most. And some tough losses. Another way to look at it could be this team can't figure out how to win their close games, and we could be the Chargers. You know what I mean? So
DJ with bars.
I'm just saying.
And also keep in mind that the quality of your opponent does impact your net rating. It does impact your offense and defensive rating. If you're playing bad teams, you're not gonna have any problems holding them down defensively. They're not good. So, and I'm not saying that's the case with us, Jeff. I agree with you. I do think we're a good team. You can look at multiple stats. Some places we need to get better, but statistically speaking, the Knicks have a solid team. My concern is once we get into the playoffs and things like that, but we do have a solid team. Let's move on. I want to talk about Randle. I want to talk about RJ. How does Randle look to you this season? He doesn't seem as energetic to me. I'm just thinking about the Phoenix game, and listen, I know there's some people who've been talking about this forever. The first quarter, him and Mitch, to me, and they weren't the only ones. I just point them out because in the first quarter, both of them had 1 rebound. And Phoenix seemed to be getting, second and third and fourth opportunities. And then you look at the stats, you'd be like, yo, Mitch and Randle, you supposed to hold us down with those defensive rebounds, and you had one in the quarter. So I didn't see the energy from either one of them. Mitch did come out in that third quarter and grab 5 rebounds, 4 of them defensive. So whatever they talked about at halftime registered for Mitch. Randle only had 5 rebounds for the game. He did come alive in the third quarter, 17 points. But my question is, and for the Phoenix game and just in general, well, let me talk about the Phoenix game. Do you think he was disinterested in the Phoenix game, or do you think Brunson was cooking and he just took a step back and just said, I'm just going to let him cook? Or do you think he was just dispassionate or disinterested in the game? We'll start with you, Shuttle, Tony, then Jeff.
I don't know. Randle, I guess it was just the Suns game. I just think that
or overall, however you want to do it, you can comment on both.
Overall, I said it last year. I'd rather have out of control, crazy eyes Randle because that's when he plays his best. And you got to kind of just take the good with the bad with that. Because the alternative is passive Randle, which is what we got in the Suns game. So you guys got to pick and choose. You want crazy eyes Randle or you want passive Randle? I told y'all before, you gotta take the laptop beating, screaming at your teammates on the court, Randle, and you're gonna get better numbers than you're gonna get with passive Randle. And that's really all I'm gonna say about it.
And the thing about it is, it affects the ceiling of this team. Because if you think we're talking about third place, we're talking about fourth place without Randle, how is that happening? I mean, I guess it's possible. It's within the realm of possibility, but it's going to take a lot.
He's 23-9, 44% from the field last 10 games. So he is trending in the right direction. But listen, we need crazy eyes Randle out there. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, Tony, your thoughts on Randle overall, and particularly the Phoenix game?
Fortunately, I guess I missed the first quarter. And obviously, the second unit mostly played the second quarter, or at least started the second quarter. So I got to see his redemption for the most part. But disappointment overall when I went back to watch, because he, like I was saying on Knicks and Bruises, this was a game he was supposed to dominate. They should not have had an answer for him offensively. I do think he does tend, whether it be RJ, Quickley, Brunson, if somebody is cooking this year, he has step back and kind of let them do what they're doing. The problem is never offensively. You know what I mean? You still have to be engaged other ways.
Correct.
Rebounding should not be affected by you not having the ball, shooting the ball well or not. Like, that's the place you got to dominate day in and day out. And for the most part, he's done that. You know what I mean? Like throughout this year where he's not shooting well, he still rebounded the ball. You know what I mean? He still assisted the ball. I think he leads us in both categories. So, I mean, you I don't know what was going on with him last game. But yeah, I was disappointed in him last game.
Jeff?
I think the biggest concern I have concerning Randle is he's taking a larger percentage of his shots at the rim, which I don't have a problem with. His finishing on those shots has not been at the levels that we've come to expect from him. And that's really disappointing. And I think that's really hurting us. And I don't know if that's an ankle issue. I don't want to make excuses for him. I don't, but I want to echo what DJ Shuttle said. He has to be himself. I think if he's trying to be this laid back version, you're the Hulk, dude. You just got to go in there and smash, bro. Like that's who you are. That's who I want him to be, because that's when he's at his most effective. I think, some of the things I'm encouraged by, though, like in the Miami game, I thought down the stretch he had some rebounds that were really good. And that's the Randle that we need. We need the guy who's going to go in there and pull down those tough rebounds. And he has a penchant for doing that, especially in the fourth quarter when there's a tough board to get. Randle is usually pretty reliable as far as that's concerned. He's our problem child and we have to deal with him, I guess. But, I don't think that we're going to be successful without him. So I think he just needs to, I think we need to let him be Randle. And I don't think we need him to be passive Randle. I think we need him to be active Randle. And if that comes with a few of the negatives, I think the positives outweigh the negatives when it comes out. He can't, he's got to play with that unbridled passion. He can't, if you put him in the bottle with the cork, it's not, you're cheating yourself out of some of the best parts of his game.
Yeah, that's the same thing with Quickley. Not necessarily this year, but I remember us talking about this his rookie year or his second year. Like, you're gonna have to just live with, one or two of them put him up shots, because if you try to control him, he's not going to be his best self. Now, over the years, he's gotten better himself. But I do agree that's the same thing with Randle. But I agree with you also, Jeff. And I think it was DJ Shut. I'm not sure. You can let other players cook. You could. I like, when RJ is going off and Brunson is having a good game, and you want to, not force, go, clapping your hand for the ball or asking for the ball. I'm okay with that, because you letting the game come to you. It's not your time. They're playing well. Let them do that. Fine. But that shouldn't affect what you do in the other parts of the game. That shouldn't impact your rebounding, like you said, Jeff. That shouldn't impact, your defense. That shouldn't impact your energy. None of that should be impacted, because you're allowing the game to come to you, and you're allowing Brunson to do his thing, or Randle or IQ, or or whoever it is. I just think that, and I know there's some fans who see this all the time. I just think I'm not saying it's more. I'm just saying I don't get it. Yeah. Put it that way. Like the Phoenix game, I just don't get it. It's one thing to come out and your energy is good and you're missing shots, or you're going for rebounds and you're getting fouled and the officials are like, all of that is fair. But
and Queen, all I could think about at the end of that game, because I was so upset. I was like, like they did this on purpose, so I can't be as mad, as mad as I was, like, because my adrenaline went up and everything else. So I kind of forgot about being mad, bringing the, with them bringing themselves back. But I mean,
Can I do want to point out though, before we move on from Randle, is there was one play at the end of that game though, when Brunson is shaking and baking. Randle passes to Brunson. Brunson shaking and baking. He gets into the lane. Randle actually cuts down the lane.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
And when people are talking about how Brunson needs to pass, no, people need to move more. People need to move more, and that's an example of it. And if Randle could do a little bit more of that, he'll get the ball and get easier shots instead of having to make 17 dribbles before he makes a shot or puts it up. So, So I mean, only one play, but I'm hoping that that's something that the team is having film study and becomes a conversation. And it's something that, last week, Tony hit me. Yo, did you see that move? Mitch went down the lane with a dribble and banged it. Yeah, like, yo, Mitch, listen, don't wait for a play to be called. Right. You get the ball. That's what you do. This is the NBA. You don't wait for them to call your play. The lane's open. Go down the lane.
Yeah, I hit like 20 people.
I was about to say, I got that same.
The lane's open. Go down the lane. What are you doing? Send it in, big fella. So yeah, I'm hoping that Randle sees that, and the team sees that, and it becomes a conversation piece, something that they can grow on. That Randle, you can get the ball and score without having to do all the dribbling before you take a shot. Cut to the hoop.
Yeah, I mean, whoever read off his stats, I think, overall he's been better as of late, compared to the first, 3, 4, 5 games of the season.
Yeah. Last 10, he's 23 and 9, 44% from the field.
Right. But like Tony said, or somebody said, he's not playing at an all NBA
no.
level just yet. He's just not. And whatever we want for the Knicks, wherever we think this team is going to go, this is going to be a top 6 team. This is going to be a top 5 team. And we're going to move past the second round, get to the Eastern Conference. Yeah, if we do that, it's because Randle is playing like an all. Whether he makes the team or not, he's playing like an all NBA player. And right now, not quite. Not quite yet. Do you guys, before we move on to RJ, I have a question about RJ. Are you concerned about Randle? Do you feel it's just a matter of him rounding into shape? Or do you have some concerns that this might not be one of his better years?
You got to grow the braids back.
Plain and simple. Let's get to the heart of the matter.
I mean,
fancy. Strength in his hair.
the good thing is they could probably be back by the time the playoffs starts. The only thing is, like, can we get there without him till then? So I'm a little concerned. I mean, I expected a down year as far as numbers, right? I don't know if Shuttle has a point with him losing that fire, if that's taken away from his aggression and his game. But I'm not ready. Let's give it 20. That's 20 games, right? How many more games we got today?
We have 16.
16. We got 4 more games. You know what I mean? Let's see if he go on a tear real quick.
Well, that's not what I was going to say. Appreciate you, Keith, but I disagree.
Oh, let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find it. Come back to me, Queen.
Okay. Jeff, any concern for the season?
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, he's not playing up to the level that he's capable of, so that's always concerning, and is there just a magic button or a switch that he's going to flip and all of a sudden he's back to what he was? I don't know, but again, I'm not overall. He hasn't played great, but even with him not playing that great, we've got our heads above the water right now, and so it's a long season. We're not even a quarter of the way through it yet. We just got to see where the wind takes us, I guess.
I just feel like. All right. First off, let me say shout out to the chat. It's like 90 plus people in here. Hit the like button. That still supports the channel. You know what I mean? They showed them. They demonetized us, but it ain't stopping us. So still hit that like button and do and support the channel if you can. Randle, I found this thing Tommy Bear tweeted. I don't know if anybody saw it. I want to know how you feel about it. Him tweeting it and then just the what he tweeted. He says Randle's the first and only player in NBA history to attempt more than 250 field goal attempts in his first 16 games of a season and shoot below 40% from the floor, below 30% from three, below 70% from the free throw line. Now, I don't like tweets like this because statistics you can make it say whatever you want just by putting the right variable. You know what I mean? So, like, how much does it change if you change it to 300 shots, 300 field goal attempts instead of 250? You know what I mean? How much does it change if you put 20 games instead of 16? You know what I mean? Like things like that. But obviously, these are it's hard. It's hard to argue against when you say, "Oh, first and only player in NBA history." You know what I mean? But how do you feel about him? How him putting things out like that?
I mean, he was at 28% from like 2 and 3 over his first 5 games at a really high volume, which, I mean, that makes a huge difference in those 20. It's not excusing. I mean, he shot what he shot, but I'm just saying that it is coming. It's coming back up to like Shuttle said. He's at what 44% over his last 10, which is more in line with what we need. It's not there, but
that's why you're spot on. Because they put the stat out after 5 games first. So now all they got to do is follow it game by game. If his numbers were worst ever in the first 5, you know what I mean? Like now it's easy to track. It's easy to track and manipulate.
Right.
Listen, right now, Randle it's a question mark. You know, it's a question mark. You feel like that you want to be behind him. You want to believe that he can be the player he has been, but he's done enough, fairly enough to me, in my opinion. He's done enough that while there's an argument to support him, there's an argument to also question if you should be concerned or not. Like, it's not fully conclusive either way, in my opinion. So, hopefully the team continues to improve. And if other players play better, for example, RJ shooting over 45, 46%, and Brunson being all NBA quality, quickly putting up 15, 16 points a game. So if other players are playing better, then maybe we don't necessarily need all NBA Randle if the other players really truly keep up at a level. You know what I mean? But if this team's really going to go anywhere, there's going to need to be a change either to the current team or there's going to need to be an acquisition that's going to need to come in to really kickstart this team. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Big question mark. Big question mark for me.
Yeah. We have, in the off season, we had team stay put and we had team upgrade. And a lot of Knicks fans wanted to stay pat. It's early though. So it's early. All right. I want to talk about RJ Barrett having a monster season. Then he was out for 2-3 games, something like that, with the migraines. Came back. First game didn't play great. Second game played okay. I played really well, I should say. Just didn't shoot well from 3. And I said, you know what? He's just rounding, into shape. Since that time, though, let me see if I have it here. Since that time, he's shooting about, over the last 3 games since he's been back, about 36% from the field and 36.4 or something like that from the 3-point line. Is this RJ Barrett, in your opinion? None of us know for sure, but just in your opinion, so the last 3 games, is that just RJ Barrett working his way back from the migraines? Or is that RJ Barrett being the RJ Barrett that we know, where he has good stretches and then not so good stretches? What's your thoughts over the last 3 games? Tone? Yes, 100. I'm having a good time with my pecans and my chocolate stevia drops. Gotta cut the sugar.
Oh, stevia.
Yeah, stevia chocolate drops. They're actually pretty good.
So we learned that the queen is a bougie snacker tonight.
I was gonna say healthy snacker, but
healthy and bougie.
That does sound like something my mom would get too.
Nutritious and delicious.
I think RJ will have his best season as of yet. I will say that. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say I'm buying the full, early season RJ numbers. But I do think, he's gonna have to find his way back. I was concerned after he missed the first game, before the migraines when he came back, because traditionally he doesn't come back well after missing time. The migraines, he missed a little bit more time than the first time out. So, let's see how he do tomorrow. This is another game tomorrow where I think he might be one of the favorable matchups depending on how they line up, because traditionally he's not lined up with Bridges. So
okay, right, Jeff. And then we'll get into Shuttle.
I think to me, there was going to be some regression to the mean. There just wasn't. You don't. I mean, he was shooting like 10 points above his career
Right.
effective field goal percentage. I think it was unrealistic and unfair to him to expect that he was going to maintain that level of shooting the entire season. I knew there was going to be a regression to the mean, and I'm not overly concerned about it. To be honest, I'm much happier with the fact that the defense has been solid. You know, I still think his process has been good. And those are the things that I think need to continue. I was never under the illusion that RJ was suddenly going to be, you know, Steph Curry from three. You know, if he settles in about 36% from three for the season, that would be amazing. You know, and I'm not saying that he won't regress further than that, but I that's all I think that this is, and I'm not going to kill him over it. I just think it is what it is. I mean, I'm actually much more concerned with the fact that Grimes doesn't seem to be able to hit a basket anymore than I am with the fact that Barrett can't, because Grimes is historically a 40% shooter who's not even close to that at the moment. So that's much more mystifying as far as I'm concerned than RJ kind of just regressing to what his career numbers. Well, still better than what his career numbers are, I should say, to give him credit.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff. DJ Shuttle.
I like Tone's analysis, and I agree with that. I think that he's set up to have his best season he's had, and I think in terms of the team's overall success, again, that's what's needed. Just be better than you have been. I'm encouraged by the foul shooting.
Yes.
81,
80, almost 82%. 83?
I think it's 83%. Yep.
Okay.
And you know, I did see him missing a couple layups again. You know, I feel about missing layups with RJ, but you know, he's not at the rate he has been in the past with missing shots close to the hoop. You know, I think RJ's like, he just has to stick with it, and it just he's clearly. I'm seeing now he's a guy that needs the reps. Like in football, you have a running back that by the fourth quarter they get to 20 carries, 25 carries, 28 carries. Old school running backs, you know what I mean? John Riggins, you know, Franco Harris, these guys that get all these carries, and by the end of the game, you're like, wow, this guy has 29 carries. And in the fourth quarter, that's when he's putting the pain on you. 5-yard carries, 6, 7, 8-yard carries. So I just think RJ needs to not miss time. When he doesn't miss time, like he's a guy who's like an old car. It needs to warm up to get going. You know, we all talked about it earlier. He had FIBA. You know, he came in strong, but now he's missed some games. So now it's like, you know, we had regular start of the season RJ now. We don't regress back to start of the season RJ based on prior years. So yeah, hopefully he just speeds that up and gets back to where he was, or a little closer to that soon.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I never bought into the efficiency, at least at that level. He was shooting 50% from three. So I never bought into the efficiency. I knew that would come down. I was hoping his overall and field goal percentage would be decent. We'll see. But for me, what I'm feeling about RJ Barrett is he's defending his position, and that hasn't changed to the point where Thibodeau has confidence in him. You know, Tibbs put him on Jimmy Butler. You know, he put him on Booker. Now, and Josh talked about this Knicks and Bruises when they double teamed Booker to get the ball out of his hand. You got to deny so he doesn't get the ball right back. Like, what's the sense? You know, so that was a mistake. But Tibbs trusts him enough and sees the improvement in his defense enough to put him on someone like Booker, right? And I think I saw a stat that as far as net rating for players with over 30 minutes, he has the best net rating coming into Phoenix game. I don't know what it is, you know, after that. His process, like Jeff said, is still good. He's playing within the confines of the game. I think he took one back to half court or almost a half court. I was like, oh, here we go. But for the most part, he's playing within the flow of the game. He's not forcing it. He's letting the game come to him. He's taking good shots. He's defending his position. That's how I understand RJ Barrett. An all-around player, 15 to 17 points a game, defends his position, plays the right way. That's how I see RJ Barrett. And I think, and Tone, we talked about this before last season. Remember, we was like, this is what we need from RJ Barrett. We don't need 20 points. 14, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, defend your position, be that all-around guy. Right? We was calling for that at the beginning. That's who I think RJ Barrett is. And even though over the last 3 games he's not shooting well, he's been inefficient overall. I don't think, in my opinion, this is the same RJ Barrett. I don't think it's the same RJ Barrett. It still looks different to me, improved to me. So I'm not worried about it.
And to your point, he was excellent defensively against Jimmy Butler in that.
Yes,
Miami
he was.
game.
Yes, he was.
Outstanding. I don't think Butler made a shot against him, in fact.
Right. I agree. And, I agree with you, Shuttle. Oh, Jeff, I wanted to say, I haven't looked at the on-off numbers because one of the things that, Tibbs has been saying is it's not an individual player, it's how the team plays together. And so I'm thinking, well, if Grimes is, in the lineup, then that means this team must be playing great. But are you saying that his on-off numbers aren't that good?
The last 3 games, he's minus 28.
But that team has been okay?
Not the last 3 games it hasn't. I don't know. For the season, I think with Grimes it's okay. But I don't, coming into the slump, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But the last 3 games with the Grimes on the court, it's not been good.
Oh, so that's not just Grimes plus minus. That's the team. Okay.
That's my understanding. If I'm wrong, then correct me.
Okay. Because with RJ's improved defense, maybe at 20 games, Tibbs will look at it and, will feel more comfortable making some changes now that RJ is playing. We were talking about the Bojan Bogdanovic rumors to the Knicks, and I'm like, he doesn't really play great defense. But if RJ is better, maybe you can take, more of a chance with someone who's not a good defender. Maybe. I'm not saying I'm for it. Yeah, I'm not saying.
He said, so let me clear that up. Let me clear that out real quick.
Yeah.
He ain't my first option, but I'm for it.
Yeah. No doubt about it. All right. Anything else about RJ before we get into Quickly? He's our player spotlight. All right, let's get to Quick. All right, so I have his numbers from last season, this season, and this week. And this guy is getting it done in less minutes. So look at this season, 16 games. His minutes are down basically 4 minutes. He's averaging 1 more point. And he's taking more shots. Shoot him up. He don't get in there. He's still getting his shots up. He's getting up 12 shots a game, 5, the same amount of 3-pointers. He's going to the line. One thing we don't talk about enough with Quickly is that he doesn't turn the ball over. He's just not a high turnover guy. This week, in even less minutes than on the season, 24 minutes, 17.7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Only 39% from the field, but 40% from 3, 92.9% from the free throw line. And he's gotten to the free throw line 5 times this week. And against Phoenix, he went to the line 8 times. And that's what you want. If you have a guy who's shooting a high percentage, What difference does it make if you're shooting 90% and you only get to the line twice? Right? But against Phoenix, he got to the line 8 times and made 7 of them. So let's talk about Emanuel Quickley, and I can put this back up if you need it. What are you seeing from him this season? What are you seeing from him this week? Are you part of the fan base who feels like he's playing for a contract and that's foremost in his mind in terms of impacting his play? Or do you just feel like he's just letting the game come to him, playing within the flow of the game and letting it fall where it falls? Tone, let's start with you. I know this is your godson.
Oh man, it's my favorite guy, man. I don't think he's playing for the contract. For the simple fact, I felt like he already earned the contract. He's not letting that affect him, which is a great sign.
Mhm.
I mean, he got my vote for sixth man of the year.
Mhm.
I heard Shuttle earlier on Knicks and Bruises talk about he might want him to start. You know what I mean? I don't know if you could really say anything too bad at it. I got it paused on my screen, so I'm looking at these
Mhm.
numbers. I mean, if you even look at so far this year and last year, what is the real big difference? Maybe his free throw is a little bit up, but he usually starts the year in the 90s anyway. And you know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's usually in the 90s to start the year, and then by the end of the year it kind of dips a little bit.
So you asked a question. I'd like to reply to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that the difference is, and this is also for East Blue Drew, I think the difference is that he's been more clutch, more fourth quarter clutch, and he's done it at the beginning of the season, and his impact on winning has just been so much more distinctful, so much more like clear, undeniable, and that's the difference. And now it's to a point now he's actually crossed the line of I'm trying to make you guys believers to now the team is okay, quickly we believe here, do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where he and the relationship with him and the team have evolved to where it's now, now you're a young vet. Now you all aboard and we with you, and we gonna ride with you. And it's not just him, which I kind of felt like how it was initially. He's like, yo, like a chip on his shoulders, and he got to prove it to people. Now it's like he's already proven it. People know he's valid based on last season. Now coming fourth quarter clutch. Now everybody's like, all right, yo, we got you. Go ahead. That's what I think the difference is.
Okay.
And just to add to that, I do feel like part of that is just the opportunity now. Year after year, Tibbs has gained more and more trust in him. He was in a lot of closing situations last year. You know what I mean? And I think this year is again it's no difference except a little bit more, a little bit earlier, a little bit more trust.
Yeah.
And
I think Tibbs has always trusted IQ, even from the beginning. The way he was able to come in as a rookie and hoist up the shot, and Tibbs in a press conference would be like, "Yeah, keep shooting."
but it's gradually grown. It went from playing the rookie to closing games. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. And we know how he feel about Grimes. So I mean that trust is it hasn't shattered. It hasn't wavered. At least I say that.
I love Keith Turner. I love him. That's my guy. I'm glad I'm drinking tonight, listening to this nonsense.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm drinking tonight listening to your nonsense, Mr. Turner.
Jeff, just thoughts on IQ this season, this week? Yeah, where however you want to take it.
Well, I'm on record as saying I thought Quickley was our third best player last season, and then I was real disappointed with his play in the playoffs. What I think about Quickley is he provides something that this team needs down the stretch and in crunch time, to DJ Shuttle's point specifically. Because here's a guy who can shoot the outside shot, so you can't pack in the paint as much. And then if you try and close out on him, he has that ability to break you down and beat you with the mid-range game, beat you with that little floater, get to the rim, get to the foul line, and punish you when he gets there, because he can knock those charity stripe shots down at a good clip. And so that's really an element that this Knicks team needs, especially in their closing lineup. So I just think that his fit is really good with that closing unit, and I kind of thought he was going to close anyway, even if he didn't start. And I love Quickley. I just think that I've always said that the on-off numbers with him are always spectacular, and his impact doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but a lot of times it does also.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, in a way, I'm not sure. What's impressive to me is that his numbers are better in less time. Like 4 less minutes, he's scoring. He's scoring more points. So that's impressive to me. And also, I just like when he's in the game, he just seems under control. And I know there's some fans who have yet to get used to Quickley's game, because he dribbles a lot, and Brunson dribbles a lot too. That's just their game. I just don't see it. I just don't see it changing much. And as much as we get on Quick, his assist percentage is over 20%, might be closer to 25%. That means he's assisting on 20 to 25% of the Knicks field goals this season. And then some will say, oh yeah, but that's at the last minute, he'll give it up. Listen, Quickly is playing well, and I want to answer someone, because this is pertaining to Quickly and I think Brunson as well. Can we please talk about Knicks' lack of assists? League average is 26. We average 18. We can't win like that. Well, Boston is ranked 26 in assists. Milwaukee is ranked 25th in assists. Orlando 24th in assists. Dallas 22nd in assists. And these teams are all over 500, and some of them significantly over 500. Cleveland 20th in assists. Depends on the type of players you have on your team. Right? Depends on the type of players you have on your team. If you have ball dominant players on your team, your assists may not be as high as on a team with players who can't create their shots, who have no choice but to move the ball to try to get a shot, because you can't create on your own. Right? So you look at Boston, they're 26 in assists. They got Tatum. They got Jaylen Brown. They can get their shots anytime.
Their whole starting five.
Right.
Questionably, I mean, the least probably playmaking would be KP, but the whole starting five can create.
Right. So the point I'm trying to make is assist does not equate to winning. Just doesn't equate to winning. Now I will say, yesterday Brunson got in the key in the second. Now Brunson shoots 50% in the key, like within 1 to 5 feet. It's the Joker and then Brunson in terms of field goal percentage. If I'm not mistaken, somebody check me on that. Within 5 feet of the basket. So Brunson gets in the key. He has a shot. I thought he was going to pull up. He passed it to somebody for a layup. Hartenstein maybe. And Hartenstein missed. And I'm like, look, you're shooting 50% or whatever it is from that spot. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. Don't pass it out to somebody who's open, who's not a good shooter, who's shooting 30% on the season. So anyway, Quickley, I get it. Y'all want him, y'all want him to pass more. I think he's finding, in my opinion, a nice balance between the passing and the shooting. Quickley is not Halliburton, and you can't turn him into Halliburton. Brunson is not Halliburton, and you can't turn him into Halliburton. These are score first guards. That's what we do.
You
And I
don't
think
need
that
them to be Halliburton either, by the way.
and you don't need them to be, particularly on this team where we don't really have players who can score the ball. So I think just accept the players for who they are. And I think you're going to be disappointed if you want them to be something different. That's just not their game. Just get better at what you do. Just get better at what you do. Yeah.
Be a star at what you do.
Be a star at what you do. Just take what you do and take it to to another level.
And it's a sidebar, but that's why my fight was always, Mitch, give me more rebounds and give me more block shots, and I'm okay with not giving me more scoring.
Yeah.
Be a star at what you do.
Block shots aren't up, but his steals are and his rebounds are. So
The steals are definitely up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I like what Quick is doing. Let's get into next week's games before we get out of here. Real quick, actually, maybe I should. I don't think we have it. This is hard to see, or at least it's hard for me to see. Let me see if I can make it bigger.
No, looks good on my side.
It looks good? Okay. Knicks are 7th in the Eastern Conference. Look at this. Indiana 5th. I'm not going to say Indiana is going to finish 5th, but Indiana is for real. Miami is for real. Cleveland is for real. I think Atlanta is for real. Brooklyn is, and Orlando. I'm looking for Orlando, and I'm looking down. They're second right now. 12-5.
They got wins against Boston and Milwaukee Bucks.
And I think Denver. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
And Denver. But
Yeah.
I'm just focusing on the East right now.
Okay.
Well, so when I talked earlier about those quality wins, you see, that's what I'm talking about. So like, it's when I look at those type of wins, that's why I gotta look at Orlando like, you sleep if you want. Like, quality wins are quality wins.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And as Jeff pointed out, I don't know if it was after the New Year, after the All-Star break, or whatever it was. They were 500 last year, so they were already trending. They just got off to such a horrid start that they weren't able to overcome it. But they were in that play-in race up until the last month, maybe even the last 2 weeks before they were eliminated from the play-in. So they've been trending since last season. But they beat Boston too. Did you mention Boston?
Yep.
You did. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Let's get to it. I'll tell you right now who we play. We play the Hornets Tuesday. This game has in-season tournament implications. The Knicks need to win and probably win big, because I think Miami is, I want to say, 8 points behind them, as far as point differential for that last wild card spot. So they're 5-10. Then we play Detroit on Thursday. They're 2-14, and they've lost 13 straight. I put 1. They've lost 13 straight. These are the teams I don't want to. Like, I need them to get a win before the Knicks play them, because at some point they're gonna get a win, So, and then we play Toronto. They're 8-9. They lost their last game. Look at this conference. Charlotte is 12th in the conference. Detroit is 14th in the conference. Toronto is 11th in the conference. If this is the team we think they are, when we come back here next week, we're 12-7.
This is where my theory has to come to fruition. Otherwise, we are not a new team, and you know what I mean. We haven't taken the next step. I'm sorry to cut in, Queen. I gotta get out of here. I appreciate jumping,
All right. See
jumping
you
on
next.
with you guys. Shout out to the chat.
Yo, Tone, it's time.
The blackest time. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So look at the offensive ratings. The Hornets 17th, Detroit 26th, Toronto 22nd. These are not juggernaut teams offensively.
No,
Defensively,
these are bottom feeders.
right. Hornets 29th in defense, Detroit 23rd in defense. Now Toronto was 12th in defense. Right? We'll get into and look at their net ratings before I get to lineups. 26th, 25th, and 21st. Come on.
Listen, I ain't gonna hold you, Queen. This should be quick and easy. This is supposed to be a 3-0 week. You're supposed to average double-digit point wins,
right,
for the week. 3-0 plus 12. Like, I mean, if I'm not going to be concerned about what I'm calling not having quality wins, for me to not be concerned, you got to win 3-0 this week decisively,
right,
all 3 games.
right.
If you can't do that, then that cracks the door even more wide open for me to feel like, okay, this is an average team. I need to be concerned.
Right. Yeah.
This should be mop city this week.
Let's get into the projected lineups. LaMelo Ball.
Maybe not Toronto. Toronto's tough.
Yeah. LaMelo Ball, I'm not sure if he'll play. You know, he was he had an ankle injury, so he didn't finish the last game. Not sure if he's back or not. Rozier's back. He's been injured for a while. Hayward, Miles Bridges, when we played them, that was just his second game back. So he's been on a groove, and he's been actually playing pretty well. And then the center, Mark Williams. Detroit, listen, the Knicks, I don't care if they lost 20 games in a row. You need to be the 21st loss. I don't want to hear nothing. Oh, they was due for a win. I don't want to hear anything. Cunningham, Ivy, Thompson, Stewart, Michael Bagley III. Dorman has been playing well for them. For whatever reason, he didn't start the last game, but he still had 13 points and 13 rebounds. Right? Now, Toronto, they're not a good offensive team, but defensively, Schroeder, Barnes, Siakam, and Portal. Defensively, the Knicks need to be sharp. Offensively, the Knicks are gonna need to be sharp because Anunoby and Barnes can guard Randle and RJ. And they might put one of them. Schroeder can guard Brunson. They may not even need to put Anunoby or Barnes on them. I mean, they can. Right? So defensively, Toronto can create some problems for us. Remember, we're top 10 3-point shooting, but overall, the Knicks are like, 20, I want to say 26 overall. So our top 10 in 3-point shooting is the only reason why we're probably not 30th in field goal percentage. We're not a good team below the 3-point line. We're not a good shooting team, I should say, below the free throw line. I mean the 3-point line.
And the offensive rebounding.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty good defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding team. If you look at rebounding percentage, we just had an off night against, Phoenix. But that Toronto game, the Knicks should win, but it can pose a problem. Just your thoughts on Jeff, we'll start with you. Thoughts on the games this week?
I'm with Shuttle. We got to find a way to get to 3-0. But I know Toronto always gives us fits and matchup problems. That game is always a headache for us. But get to that game 2-0 for sure. I know Charlotte beat Boston the other night, so there are no givens or gimmies in the NBA. They're gonna have to come with it and take care of business. But come with it, take care of business. I don't want to hear any excuses about losing to Charlotte or losing to Detroit. That I mean, it can happen, but it can't happen. They just need to, because the other thing is we've got to do well this week because we've got that 5-game West Coast trip that's coming up not too distant future. So you want to be at 12-7 when you're headed out to a trip that's going to be pretty rough. I mean, that way if you're 12-7 and you have a 1-4 or a 2-3 trip, then you're still not in bad shape. If you're 11-10 or something like that, and you go 1-4, now you're 12-15. That, as Shuttle keeps saying, the Eastern Conference, you got to stay on top of it. So we need to get these 3 games, and you can't, you have to take them one at a time. I hate to look, but we've got to get these 3 games. We just have to.
If you're who you say you are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even listen, I'll give it to Toronto, in their defense that can pose some problems, but posing some problems still doesn't mean you shouldn't win the game, right?
Amen.
Offensively, they're not a good team. They're 22nd in offensive rating. You're 6th, right? Net rating, we're 8th. They're 21st.
Yeah.
Handle your business. Handle your business. Let me see what the chat has to say. There's no way we should lose tomorrow's game with Ball's injury. Salute, Greg. Is LaMelo Ball out tomorrow? Somebody let us know.
I think he might be, actually.
We all know why
he might be out for an extended period of time. I think that injury was pretty serious, but I don't know for sure, but I think I remember hearing that.
Okay. Rozier is back, though. He didn't play the last game. The last 2. We played him twice. Yeah. Okay. He's doubtful. David Brownburner, appreciate you dropping by. Is there any chance y'all lose to the Hornets? There's always a chance, David. There's always a chance. But we will win against Charlotte tomorrow.
Let me find out Brown Burners from Charlotte.
Nick Yak, RJ usually outplays OG. We need Randle to have a decent game. Yeah.
Yeah. Siakam usually plays well against this next team.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're Toronto's NBA Finals. Usually, they always. I mean, they don't have Van Vliet anymore, but he was always a killer too.
Yeah.
Schroeder, though, is just as much of a Nick killer.
Yeah, he's playing well for them, if I'm not mistaken. Knicks 100 GM Thompson and Cade is a problem for us. Listen, I don't want to hear nothing about anybody on Detroit posing a problem for the Knicks. I need the Knicks to go in there and handle their business.
Now, are these all on the road? Or are they at home? Where are these games?
Hornets and Detroit are at home. Thursday is in Toronto. Good question, Jeff. Okay. So, yeah, we're in Toronto Thursday. Somebody check me on that, but I believe that's the.
I mean, it shouldn't matter. We should beat them. Play in the North Pole. We should be beating them. But I'm just curious.
Handle your business.
Amen.
I mean, it's like they was like, listen, I know y'all had a rough go the first 10 games of the season. I'm gonna hook y'all up right now with these 3 games right here.
Don't blame it.
Make some hay and go get them. Right?
Amen.
Yeah, listen, right. If they don't, you might get your condition back.
Right. Right. Yeah, no doubt about it.
It might be the big one, that stuff.
Right. I don't know. We got some young cats in there not familiar with Sanford and Son.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. I want to give a shout out to our MBK family of shows. We have you covered for all of your Nick content. There's a lot going on in Nick universe, and sometimes you're not sure who to listen to, but if you keep it locked in here, and Dope Soul, of course, you'll be covered. So pregame, postgame, the shoot around with Sim, the NBA wrap up. I believe that's Thursday nights with Ron of Still Nick fans. The controversy with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. He has a special schedule, so he puts it out when he's able to. The Losers Lounge with Tony, who was just here of Knicks and Bruises. Whenever the Knicks win a game, he'll have a show and he'll pull in the comments from the other team. Really, really good show. Live shows and videos by International Andy from Poland whenever he wants to grace us with his presence. Queen's Court, of course, every Monday with myself of Dope Soul Sports Talk. Be sure to catch me on my channel Thursday nights, the Just Nicking It weekly show. And actually this week, because the Knicks play Thursday, we're going Wednesday, and it'll be an all-female panel. And we're going earlier than usual. We're going at 7 o'clock. So check us out. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Dope Soul Sport Talk. And of course, special programming and events by Sim. We do draft shows. Not that I'm not sure when we're gonna do another draft show, but we do special events. We go to Nick games. We do live podcasting at Legends. We have watch parties. So if you ever get an opportunity to come to an MBK event, please do so. They're usually free or low cost if it's not a Knick game, and that's not on us. That's the Knicks. And get a chance to just meet the content creators. I love meeting you guys. All right, spread love. It's the Dope Soul way. It's the Queen's Court way. Two Knicks chicks. They have their own channel. They actually went live earlier today, previewing, talking about the Knicks. So go to the search bar in YouTube, put in two Knicks chicks, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate them. Thanks everybody from watching. Let me give some love before we get out of here. Yes, Stafford Don. Yes.
Big shout to the Don.
Yeah, special pop-up shows on Saturdays if the Knicks play Friday night. That's me and Stafford. My schedule has been hectic. I just dropped a Nick. I'm not doing the morning shows. It's just too much. But I did drop a audio podcast. Recapping the Phoenix game. So if you're a Patreon, you got that audio podcast. And I'll do another one on Wednesday morning as well. Nick Yak, Talk Knicks. We all show up. No doubt about it. Cody, appreciate you. Julius Caesar, Knicks 100, Greg, Dwayne Dennis, Kevin Burgeon, Keith Turner, the Saturday Flight. Okay. All right, JJ. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody. PL, Trezor the Music 876. But I appreciate everybody from showing up. Any last words, Jeff, DJ Shuttle, before we get out of here?
Just it's great to be part of such an amazing panel and be the court jester. But every court's got to have one, right? But Shuttle, you're great as always. Queen, it's always a pleasure. Thank y'all so much. You've got the best chat going. Great analysis. Tony has had to leave early, but it's always great to have him on board too. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on the show. And
absolutely,
let's have a 3-0 week and keep the good vibes going.
Because if we don't, it's gonna be hell to pay when we here next week Monday talking about a 1-2 week. Oh no, I can't.
Torches and pitchforks will be out.
If we have to talk about a 1-2 week, I should say.
I have to push that energy away. I rebuke that energy, Queen. Rebuke that 1-2 energy.
Yeah. Any last words for you, Shuttle?
DJ Shuttle birthday bash day party Saturday, January 13th. Amadeus 4-9. Don't meet me there.
Ooh.
Beat me there. And yeah, let's be clear.
Every Friday, 8 to 10, 108 Soul. He's putting it
That's
down.
right. That's right. iHeartRadio, Siri, Alexa, just tell them play 108 Soul. You don't got to download the app, as the Queen told me.
Yes.
Make it simple, make it easy, since she wavy with her technology.
Listen, if you know anything about me, everything has to be efficient. If I got to put in a lot of work, it ain't happening. So when I found out all I have to do was say, Alexa, I can't even say it now. I said it earlier in the show, Alexa played 108 Souls. I can't say it now. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Shut up, instead of pulling up the phone, going to the app, pressing it. Come on.
True indeed, Queen.
Support the channel. The channel has been demonetized. We're not sure why. So we can't do super chats or anything like that. So if you want to support the channel, Cash App, Nothing But Knicks, or PayPal.me/Nothing But Knicks. Okay? Until next time, family.